Hello everyone and welcome along to round number 14 of this TGP2 season. We're in the Principality of Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix around the streets of Monte Carlo. It's pinch punch first of the month here, and it's the 1st of May, and we've got a fantastic evening of racing coming up for you. Monaco first, and then we're heading over to Mexico for what promises to be two very exciting Grand Prix this evening. So, our championship, it's still Speed Knighton who leads the way after a good result, couple of results for him last time out, and Speed Danskar has got a lot of catching up to do. With roughly 60 points, I think, from memory, the gap between the two of them at the moment in the order. But could that all change tonight? We're about to find out. With 3.5 minutes to go, let's give you a quick rundown of the order. So, speaking of which, Danskar, our provisional pole sitter on a 1 minute 10.0. Smokey J is the only man to get close to that so far, but his session ended at the chicane. Speed Y Racer at the moment is in the pits, or he's on an outlap even, on a 10.2. And then our championship leader on a 10.5, but he's not going any quicker than that. He's also taken a trip to the barriers. We've then got Mr. Chiapelli, our reigning champion, in P5. Chris Johnson, we've just seen going to the pits in P6. And we've then got Michael Kenny, P7, but he's not going any quicker. Quite a way back, a second between him and Chris Johnson. Jack Craig in P8, Dom Smith P9, Red Bull Kim rounding out the top 10. So let's focus on Y Racer then, as he's coming towards Sandevot, and he gets on the power and comes along the main start-finish straight. Quickly before we do this, Danskar actually goes fastest. Introduce my co-commentator for tonight, Owen Quimby. Evening, Owen.
Evening, Michael.
And what do you expect to see from the drivers tonight? What are we hoping we can see out there in the races this evening?
I'm expecting to see another good performance from the likes of Danskar, Y Racer, who made a good debut last week, Knighton, and also Senna having a good run, but not so much in this session as he's out already. But expecting a few of those guys to have a good session, and maybe Smokey J's once again already up there. Hopefully he'll be hoping to stay in that second place, and let's see what the reigning champion Chiapelli can do for you, Mike.
Yeah, very much so. Chiapelli in that little interlude has jumped up into 3rd place provisionally so far. We have got Y Racer out on lap at the moment as he chucks it into the back. Gets very close to the barrier on the right hand side. We've got a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2 at the moment. Jack Craig's just popped up. Oh no, he's just got Y Racer. He's just clipped the wall there, and that's going to be his qualifying over, because he's not going to have enough time to get into the pits, change the tyres in the front wing, and get out again. So that's that for the Renault driver. Who have we got on the lap at the moment? Let's have a scroll through. Jack Craig, I think, is on an in lap because he has just done a quicker time. Chris Johnson is in the pits and won't get out in time. Neither will Y Racer, Chris Johnson just retired. Danskar's back in the pits. So we've only really got Dom Smith, Red Bull Kim, and Mr. John at the moment, who are looking like going to set some laps. Dom Smith is on an out lap at the moment, so let's follow the Red Bull driver round a lap of Monte Carlo. We'll go on board. We'll have the privilege of going on board with our Lord and Saviour Dom Smith through the final corner now and onto the main straight. He's firing up the car into 6th, 7th gear just before turn 1. Under braking, tricky one to get right. You want to take a lot of the apex, climbing up the hill then towards Casino Square, and keeps it nice and neat and tidy. Try not to lock up the front left. He runs a little bit wide there, Dom. He's lucky to keep it out the wall, but he should still be able to improve on a 1 minute 12.9. Down into Mirobo then. Tricky right-hander. He's run wide and gets very close to the wall. I tell you what, Dom Smith is on a knife edge at the moment as he chucks it into the hairpin as well. It's been a scruffy lap from the Maxman so far, but can he still improve as he chucks it now just before the tunnel? Coming through the tunnel, looks so good. Monaco lit up the night sky tonight, and he's got to try and find his tricky braking zone for the chicane. Left-hander, avoid the wall, take as much curb as you can get away with on the right, let it run wide as we come towards the back now. Left-hander, he gets in there, all right, he keeps away from the right-hand barrier through swimming pool at the end of sector 2. This is a tricky corner as well, don't want to take too much of the curve. That's where Y Racer went wrong as Dom Smith clips the wall. We've got a yellow flag as we've got Mr. John spinning in front of Dom Smith. Round the final corner then, he gets on the power, lights up the rears a little bit, and this is going to be an improvement to Dom Smith, and if so, where's it going to put him? And it's not an improvement for the Manx. Oh, it is an improvement. Sorry, my timing screen was late to update then. He's found 9/10 of a second and will put him in P8. And that is that for our laps in qualifying, as Mr. John comes into the pits and from ruining his own run. So bit of a scruffy lap there from Dom Smith, but Owen, he made it count to find him that little extra place on the grid. But round Monaco qualifying, we know, so important, and which could really let Speed Senna down from crashing out earlier on.
Yeah, it's very important round Monaco to get a decent lap in, and it's very important with grid position here at Monaco. Very hard to overtake on this circuit, if virtually impossible, some may say. And that's the main aim for these drivers, try and somehow make up some ground and maintain their position.
Very much so. Let's give you a quick rundown of our grid then. So we've got Dan Scott on pole. Another great session from the Estonian. Smokey James joining him on the front row. Our reigning champion, Chiapelli, in third. Y-Racer in fourth. Not bad effort from him in the Renault. Knighton would have expected more than fifth, I'm sure. Jack Craig sixth. Chris Johnson in seventh. Dom Smith in P8. Michael Kenny in ninth. Rebel Kim rounding out our top 10. And getting fresh choice of tyres then. We've got Mr. John, James Botham, Speed Senna, and MC Shep. So, as we said, very tricky to overtake in Monaco, so qualifying is key, but you can never rule anything out in TGP2, so don't think you're in for a processional race by any means. You just have to look back at Baku. We had just 8 finishes. Hopefully we'll have a few more finishes and some good racing, but Owen, anything can and will happen.
Yeah, definitely can in Monaco. It's quite a race of attrition normally. With the barriers being so close to you, there's really no room for error on this circuit for you, Mike.
No, very much not, and the drivers will be in full concentration mode now, I'm sure, to getting their selves in the right frame of mind to tackle this circuit. Only just over 2 miles, this track as well, with so much history in TGP2. We've had some great races here over the seasons in TGP1 and TGP2. And let's hope that tonight will be another classic, because we're pretty much there and the grid is now ready. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 lights, and under the lights in Monaco it's lights out and we're underway, and it's a good start from the front too. Dan Scott's got a better start, you have to say, than Smokey J's, but he's surely going to challenge still into turn 1, and they're all getting through cleanly so far, but Smokey J's has got ahead of Dan Scott. We've got Knighton battling a little bit further back with Chiapelli. There's a little bit of banging wheels. Dan Scott desperate to try and get back past the Renault driver, but so far it's the Norwegian that leads, and we've got a yellow flag already in sector 1. We've got some carnage further back. We've got a Ferrari out a wing. That is MC Shep as they all head their way now through the hairpin line astern, the slowest corner on the calendar, as we've got a Sauber running a little bit wide there, and we've got a yellow flag coming into sector 2. I wonder if someone's put it in a wall at Mirabeau. Speed Senna's losing a lot of time, but at the moment it's Smokey J's in the lead from Stan's car and Chiapelli. And Owen, what a crucial start that was for Smokey J's.
Yeah, brilliant move from Smokey J's round the outside at Sandoval, the first corner, getting the move done from P2 on the grid, and puts himself into the lead of the race.
Yep, and he's got to try and keep it there now, and I have to say he's already got a decent gap back to Dan's car, but Dan's car through qualifying was mighty through this last sector. As you can see, he's just getting 3 attempts, and we've got James Botham has hit the wall, I think, just coming out of the swimming pool section. So the race is already over for the McLaren driver, and we've got Smokey J's obviously setting the fast lap of the race on lap number 1. But we've got, let's give you the order at the end of that one. Smokey J's, Dan's car, Mr. Chiapelli, we've then got Y-Racer, Knighton, Jack Craig, Chris Johnson, Dom Smith, Michael Kenny, and Speed Senna now up to 10th, with a few people coming into pits, I'm sure, to replace damage. But we've got Dan's car in all over the back of Smokey J's coming to Mirabeau.
Yeah, Dan's car all over the back of Smokey J's, very determined to get that position. But Monaco, one of the circuits where it's virtually impossible to overtake. His best chance is probably into the Nouvelle chicane after the tunnel, Mike.
Yep, and we've got Dom Smith dropping down the order as well. I wonder if he's had some incident into Mirabeau himself. But coming down to chicane then, is he close enough? He's got 4 attempts back. I don't think he's going to be. He's going to have to be a lot closer than that to be able to line him up, unless we see a mistake from the Renault driver, who gets a little bit squirrely coming out to the chicane and towards the back. He's going to have to focus on keeping out of the wall, and he very nearly didn't, as most of the cars there looked like they skimmed the barrier coming through. But now we're into this 3rd sector where Dan's car has been so good, and you can see just closing that gap up with Smokey J's locking up into Laris Gas and into Anthony Nose, then onto the main straight, where DRS will now be active, although not really very effective round here.
Yeah, definitely not, Mike. DRS basically useless on this circuit. It's only really there as a party piece and a bit of a gimmick as Dansgaard gets a bit wide on the exit.
Dansgaard's lost from his front wing, only a very small amount. Sorry to butt in, Owen. But,
yeah, that's fine. I caught it.
I think so, but nonetheless, he has lost some time from that and did seem to be struggling around Mirabeau. Chiapelli, the last time round, did put in the fastest lap of the race, so he's putting in a statement of intent himself. Knighton has actually been dropping back from this gaggle of 3 cars, as has Y-Racer, so I don't know if something's happened with him, or maybe these top 3 are just in the league.
Knighton's got a bit of front wing damage for you, Mike, and now means Elite Shots is all over the back of him.
Yep, Jack Craig in the Williams, we know can get very feisty, and I wonder if he'll think about trying to put a move on the Renault driver sooner rather than later. But it's as you were then, as we come towards the end of lap number 3. If Dansgaard's clipped the wall again, and he's lost a lot of time actually there, Owen. I wonder if he's picked up some more damage, and you've got to be careful, because all it takes is a couple of hits into the wall, and you start chipping away at that front wing, you just start losing the performance, and that's all it can take before you end up with more damage than you got from your first hit even. Yeah,
definitely not what you want. It's very crucial to keep all your front wing on this circuit, because you lose so much grip around the corners. Luckily, it's because it's so hard to pass around this circuit, you are just about able to hold off guys if you're lacking some grip.
Yeah, and talking of lacking grip and lacking front wing, we have got Knighton, who has just pitted a Sauber driver, and our championship leader at the moment, looking, well, he's guaranteed points at the moment with the finishers we've got, or the runners we've got left, but a Dansgaard, if he can try and find a way past the Danish driver of Smoky J's, then you have to say he will be sitting pretty to cut that gap, as Dansgaard actually runs over a little bit of the exit curb, which has lost him a little bit of time.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you. There's a big battle brewing for about 7th place at the moment.
So there is. We've got 3 cars fighting over 7th place. Oh, it's actually Smoky J's has clipped the wall. I was just cutting away and I just caught it. I don't think I think he's got away with it. Sorry there, Owen. But Dansgaard now all over the back of the Renault driver, who's one ride, and this could be the invitation that Dansgaard needs into Anthony Nose. He thinks better of it, but he's going to have the DRS now. And into turn 1, is he going to be close enough? I think he's lost too much on the exit. And actually, Chiapelli's looking poised for a move for 2nd place, but thinks better of it.
Yeah, definitely does indeed. Chiapelli looking all over the back of these 2 drivers. Both maybe struggling with front wing damage. Sorry.
And Dansgaard's at the inside. This is very tight. And they almost touch. And Smoky J's has one wide. And he might have damaged the car a little more there. And Chiapelli is piling pressure on these 2. And look at that. Even Y-Race is caught up. So the top 4 separated by less than 2 seconds. And that all started from Smoky J's getting a little bit out of shape into La Rascasso.
Yeah, it all started from that.
Oh, and Chiapelli. Oh, Jesus. I don't know if he has spun, but he's lost a place to Y-Racer. But Owen, are we going to see Dansgaard make a move for P1?
Oh, he's lost a bit of his front wing trying to lunge it around the outside there, Mike. So that wasn't the smartest move in the world from Dansgaard. The door sort of tried to hang it around the outside, but he committed too late and the door just closed on him.
Yeah, and you can see coming through those fast corners, he has lost a little bit of performance, and he's going to have to watch himself, because he has got Y-Racer all over him, as Mr. John has put it in the wall somewhere. And Dansgaard thinks that now it's the time to pit. And are we going to see a change of front wing as well? The Ferrari mechanics have prepared one, so it is going to be quite a large time loss for the Ferrari driver, who was battling for the win. But as you said, in this race of attrition, it's going to be how many spare front wings teams have left, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is indeed. How big is the budget for some of these teams on the grid? Can they keep their cars intact? Renault seems to do a pretty good job so far, running 1-2.
Yeah, well, Dom Smith has managed to get ahead of Dansgaard while pitting, and that has meant that he's come out just ahead of traffic with Knighton, as we've got Speed Senna, who's crashed at the exit of turn 1, Owen.
Oh, that's not good for him. He's a long way off in the championship, but he's been on such good form this season so far, Senna. As we see a move up the front, Y-Racer's going to lunge it down the inside into the Nouvelle chicane, pushes his teammate wide, forces him to cut the corner, and I thought he was far enough up the inside that Smoky J's surely has to give the position as Chiapelli loses some of his front wing round to back.
Yep. Well, the Renault drivers, I'm sure that Cyril Abitbol is going to be looking for gritted teeth. And I tell you what, Y-Racer nearly fancied a chance as Smoky J gets all crossed up on the exit. And that has meant that he's had priority for pit and has been able to pit at the same time as Chiapelli. Are we going to see any front wing changes for these 2 as well, Owen?
Yeah, I think definitely
Yes, Smokey
Chiapelli.
J's is.
Okay, what about Chiapelli? Chiapelli's further down
He
the
is
field.
as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with Chiapelli. I've seen him chip a fair
Where's
bit of his...
Dansgaard?
Dansgaard, that is going to be key. We'll see where he is. He's put ahead of Dom Smith. We're going to jump to him now. So, there's
He's just coming up to
Dansgaard.
the final. It's turn one.
Yeah, he's just coming up to turn one. Are them two ahead? Yes,
He's
they
jumped
are.
him.
Oh no, they've jumped him. Yeah, I can see Smokey J's.
Oh! So I thought he clipped the wall, but he got away with it. Sorry, Owen.
That is fine. I'm trying to keep a track of what's going on. I think Knighton's jumped Smokey J's as well. So pitting early from Knighton's point of view has meant he's jumped the previous race leader and Chiapelli.
Yeah, very much so. So maybe that early stop, keeping out of the traffic and just putting in some good lap times, has helped the Sauber driver. And you have to say it was probably them battling on their what turned out to be their in laps. It's probably cost Smokey J's and Chiapelli a place to Dansgaard and, of course, Knighton.
Yeah, Knighton making the very early stop after picking up some early wing damage. He's starting to lose the lead pack, pitted early, and now he's suddenly back in the race.
Yeah, and we've now got Y Racer and Jack Craig in the pits. So what you could do, really, if you're Y Racer now, you could not change your front wing, which he hasn't, and
he'll probably come out in the lead.
Position.
Well, it would be interesting to see where he comes out compared to Dansgaard. Dansgaard's just coming out of Anthony Nogues onto the main straight now. Where is Y Racer? That is the crucial thing. He's got him.
He's done him.
Wow. So Y Racer is your new race leader.
He is, and that crucial thing, as we said, track position, counts a lot for Monaco, and that was clearly in the back of Y Racer's mind, and he thought, you know what, they will change their front wings. Let's keep the same one on. I might be losing a little bit of performance, but I don't care if they can't get past me, and they might even damage theirs trying to catch me.
Yeah, that is very true, as we have this big battle that is brewing for P3. It's Knighton, Smokey J's, Chiapelli, and now Elite Shots has joined the back of this pack as well.
Yeah, I think Elite Shot Y Racer's lead in not changing his front wing, and it's really helped him catch this lot. And are we going to see Smokey J send the lunge up the inside of Knighton? He certainly thinks about it, and he thought about it twice going into the braking zone there. But Knighton's run a little bit wide, and thankfully his poor exit has actually helped him.
Down the inside into back. What a move from Chiapelli.
Wow, sorry Owen, my camera angle was completely wrong there, and I had no idea that was happening.
Yeah, great move from Chiapelli. Smokey J sort of seen it coming, knew he didn't really have a chance trying to hang it round the outside of Tabac, and sort of lifted off a bit early, but great move from Chiapelli, very opportunistic. Going up the inside, and he's having a sniff at Knighton going into Sandevot now.
Yeah, so Chiapelli, the bit between his teeth, as Dansgaard's got the gap to just over half a second down to Y Racer as well, and you have to fancy Chiapelli to make a move at Knighton at the moment. We know he's very opportunistic with his manoeuvres, and he's even going to think about one into Mirabeau, but thankfully thought better of it. I can see that ending in tears for not just him, but probably the fans standing behind the barrier as well. And he gets very close to the back of the Sauber driver through the chicane as they come now onto the back straight. He's clipped the inside wall, and this could cost him to Y Racer as he had a good enough exit, which he hasn't. Smokey J's even, sorry Owen, as they head now to the chicane, and yet Smokey J's isn't close enough, but that definitely cost Chiapelli. That little clip of the inside wall just pushed him a little bit offline, Owen. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the gap at the front is coming down. It's now less than a second between these two lead guys as Dansgaard is closing up to the back of Y Racer. Do we know if Y Racer has wing damage? Sorry about that, Mike. Dom's out.
No.
But yeah, Y Racer into Sandevot is just ahead of Dansgaard.
Sorry, Chiapelli has got a great run on Knighton. He's going to try round the outside into Sandevot, and Knighton's had to go defensive, and that's meant he's had a poor exit up into Casino Square now. Is Chiapelli going to try a lunge up the inside? Not quite, but Knighton, some very good defensive driving there, forced Chiapelli to go to the outside, where you can't really overtake into turn one unless it's at the very start.
Yeah, that's very true. It's very hard to get an overtaking move done at Monaco, full stop. So, fair play at Chiapelli at getting past at to back, one of the fastest corners on the circuit previously, and now he's all over the back of Knighton, maybe trying another ambitious move.
Yep, let's hope so. Chiapelli is feeling it at the moment. He's on form tonight, and hopefully we'll see some more spectacular overtakes with the race still only at half distance then. So everyone's got rid of their mandatory pit stop, and it's hopefully now just a straight race to the finish, as both Knighton and Smoky Jays getting incredibly close to the wall and skinning it a lot at the moment. They're playing with death, Owen.
Yeah, definitely are indeed. Meanwhile, this battle for P3 is just going to keep bubbling away, and we could be looking at this a nose-to-tail battle for the end of the race. Chiapelli had a little sniff in Sandoval, and Smoky Jays is all over the back of him.
Yeah, Smoky Jays is really quick at the moment. He's turned up his engine, but he really fancies to go at Chiapelli. He's actually run a little bit wide there, as has Knighton. There's a little bit of contact, and down into Mirabeau, this could get interesting. Chiapelli, he looks again. I think in a minute he's either going to have to do or die move just to stop him from being overtaken by Smoky Jays.
Meanwhile, there's a battle at the front starting to brew as well. It's now less than half a second between the two leaders. We're going to have to wait maybe a little bit of time before an overtaking move comes into fruition.
I think Chiapelli's about to send one. He's quite close. Is he going to be brave? Oh, he thought about it late on there, and he's still just not quite. I think you need to be about three and a half tenths coming through the tunnel to be able to make it, and he's still about that 4 tenths, half a second gap. It's just not quite there yet.
No, he's just not quite. You have to be basically on inside someone's gearbox here at Monaco to get a move done.
And he's definitely inside his gearbox now. If he can get a good exit, then I think we could see a change for third place into turn number 1. Knighton has had a good exit, and I think he's using his ERS very wisely at the moment to try and fend off an attack from the Williams. The Mercedes. Meanwhile, thinking of Williams, Jack Craig has dropped off a little bit, and Chiapelli's actually hit the back of Knighton now.
Yeah, very, very close contact. Doesn't look like Chiapelli's picked up any front wing damage. He's going to try and go around the outside of Mirabeau. Oh, that was risky. Didn't quite pay off. Meanwhile, Smoky Jays has actually dropped back a little bit from this battle, but slowly clawed himself back in thanks to that move from Chiapelli.
Yeah, Mirabeau is rarely a place you see an overtaking. It's definitely not a place you see an overtake round the outside. But Chiapelli now just 2 tenths behind the Sauber. Surely he's going to try something into the chicane. He's going to go up the inside. The Mercedes makes the move, but he's run a little bit wide, and Smoky Jays is going to try and come back at him, but thinks better of it. And that was definitely the right opportunity for Chiapelli. Just couldn't quite put it off. Maybe he needs to be a little bit braver on the brakes, Owen.
Yeah, you need to basically fully commit. For a full lunge, you've got to lick the stamp and send it up the inside into the Nouvelle chicane. Meanwhile, we've got the lap car of Red Bull Kim. How much is he going to play into the effect of this battle?
Well, he's going to give Knighton DRS, I think. Surely. He's pulled out the way very nicely, but Chiapelli still not quite close enough. Interestingly, Knighton didn't have DRS there. Chiapelli taking an interesting line coming out of turn 1. These three having a fantastic battle under the lights here in Monaco for TGP2. We are being treated royally at the moment in the Principality, and Chiapelli still all over the gearbox of the Sauber. The top two are now 11.5 seconds up the road from these two. Danskar still not quite close enough to Y-Racer to make a move yet, but our main attention is on this battle for third between Speed Knighton, our reigning champion Mr. Chiapelli, and Smoky Jays. It's Chiapelli. Oh, I tell you what.
And Smoky Jays is going to have a sniff into Nouvelle chicane. Sorry, Mike. Yeah, sorry, Nouvelle chicane. Smoky Jays is going to lunge it around the outside and move done.
Yeah, well, that's maybe Chiapelli has had and lost his chance, and he's passed the baton to the Renault driver. And I tell you what, I wish we had a replay feature, because that drifting from Chiapelli round that corner, whatever it's called, Smoky Jays now run a little bit wide, coming into
they're in Anthony-Noakes now.
There you go. I was about to say La Source, but that's very wrong. And Smoky Jays is now in prime position to challenge for third, and he's nearly run into the back of him, and Chiapelli thus has nearly run into the back of Smoky Jays, and there's damage to one of the two cars at least.
Smoky Jays is Smoky Jays. He picked it up when he ran into the back of Knighton, and that's it, and it gave Chiapelli the chance to go back up to the rear end of Knighton and recommence their battle they've been having all race.
Well, round 2 then between Chiapelli and Knighton. I have to say, the gap had very briefly gone up. between these two, and it's instantaneously come down again to Chiapelli being right in the gearbox, and this time coming into the tunnel. He doesn't make a silly error. Chiapelli then, he's very close now, and surely he's going to try something. Knighton tries to defend, and Chiapelli late on the brakes, up the inside into the chicane. He forces Knighton wide, but unfortunately he hasn't had a bad enough exit, but Chiapelli's going to try and recreate his move on Smokey J's earlier on, but not quite close enough, as we've got Michael Kenny in the pits. And I'll tell you what, Owen, I've just checked, and the gap at the front is less than half a second.
Yeah, but it's been so hard to take our eyes off this battle for P3 as well. We don't know where to look at the moment, Mike.
Here we go, surely now Chiapelli is pretty much changing gear for Knighton. The gap is just a tenth of a second as they go across the line. It was less than that. Chiapelli round the outside into Sandevot, moved up into P3 and clips the wall eyes at it just for good measure, and he finally gets the better of Knighton. What
a move from Chiapelli, using the DRS that's quite ineffective on this circuit to get round to the outside of Knighton on the DRS, round the outside of Sandevot. What a move from Chiapelli.
Yeah, very well done from our reigning champion, showing his class under the Knights tonight. And Knighton has now got to keep an eye on his mirrors, because he's got a very fast Renault behind it. And that Renault kind of wouldn't mind a stab at Chiapelli himself, who's already gone a second and a half up the road. Meanwhile, just half a second covers our top two. And as we got Dan's car all over the back of Y-Racer, and is he going to try and imitate Chiapelli's move into turn one? Y-Racer, really poor exit, and this could be the opportunity that Dan's car needs to retake the lead of this race, Owen.
No, I don't think he's going to quite get done into Sandevot. Y-Racer got a brilliant exit out of Sandevot, messed up the Rascas, but luckily that's not really a corner you have a chance to go for an overtaking move. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, Mike.
That was for Michael Kenny, getting out the way of the battle for fourth, which is still commencing, and Knighton got enough of a gap for him so far to stay ahead of the Renault driver, who is just itching to get past him. It's been a challenge for him all race. As I go back to the battle for the lead, and Dan's car is pushing Y-Racer around this 2.1 mile circuit.
Sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt you. Oh, Knighton's made a mistake. He's in the wall. Smokey J's up into P4, Knighton down to P5. They went side by side round top of Casino, and Smokey J's on the outside. There's a little bit of Robbins racing, and Knighton just ended up in the wall at Casino, loses half of his front wing, but Smokey J's gains the position. Sorry, Mike.
Well, no, thank you very much. I completely missed that again. I'm doing well tonight. And Smokey J's now does make his way up into fourth, but has got a 3.5 second buffer to Chiapelli, and he's going to have to try and make that up ever so quickly. Knighton, as you said, with that heavy damage now, is he even going to consider a pit stop? He'd only lose 2 positions at the moment, but on fresh rubber, could he claw that back up?
I'd say it's too late in the race, to be honest. Too late in the race. He's got about a 7-second buffer back to elite shots as well, so I think he'll be able to hold on to the end.
Okay, right, back to the lead. Y-Racer has had a really good stint, but Dan's car is itching to take a win, and with his championship rival currently floundering down in 5th place, it was going so well for him, he wasn't losing many points. But at the moment, we'll be losing just 8. I know it's 64-point gap or whatever it is, but still, only takes a couple of 8 points lost here and there, and that all before you know it, when we get into the last race in Abu Dhabi, the gap could be next to nothing. So, Dan's car then, can he try and gain another 7 points? He certainly wants to gain another 7 points, Owen, but can he do it?
That'll be a key question. He's clipped the wall at the exit to back. I'm not sure if he lost any front wing there, Mike.
It doesn't look like he has, visually at least, as he clips the wall again. He's definitely leaving his mark out on the track at the moment, but it's gained him a lot of time, so if he hasn't got any damage, it was definitely worth it. Back on the DRS again, but as you said, Owen, on this main straight, it's a little bit redundant. Chucks it into Sandevot now. Y-Racer doing a grand job at the moment of holding his nerve. All he has to do is be slow enough to not crash, but quick enough to keep him behind, and he might see that checkered flag first. And what a way to take your first TGP2 win that would be, Owen, under the lights in Monaco.
Yeah, definitely would be indeed. A decent way to kick off your TGP2 career. This is only be his 3rd race as well, Mike, for Y-Racer, and he's made quite the impression so far in TGP2.
Yeah, definitely. He is clearly very quick behind the wheel, and he's keeping Dan's car at arm's width at the moment.
Yeah, and, I'm going to have to interrupt you, but further down the field, Chris Johnson is all over the back of elite shots for P6.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Jack Craig, because he was all over the back of the battle.
I think he's picked up some front wing damage.
Very true, but that's still a big gap to have lost all of a sudden, I feel. So we've got Elite Shots holding his own at the moment, but how long is it? That Sauber is going to stay behind the Williams for, because if Chris Johnson has got a severe pace advantage, then he could find himself staring at the back of a Williams very shortly.
Well, Chris Johnson is all over the back of a Williams.
He is staring at the back of a Williams already, isn't he? I got that one completely wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of time, I reckon, the way it's been going. Elite Shots is actually losing time to Knighton, who we know has front wing damage from previous. And he's lost a bit more front wing there, coming out of the Raskas.
He's trying his best to leave as much Williams front wing as he can around this track for the marshals to pick up later. I'm seeing a great camera angle of a tree at the moment, but I've got some cars again now. As Chris Johnson then right behind Jack Craig as they head up the hill and towards Casino. Is he going to try and do what Smokey J's did? I wish my camera would hurry up and change, but he's up the inside and Jack Craig's run a little bit wide around the outside, and he just let him go in the end.
Yeah.
And Chris Johnson kept his own. And now has P6. That'd be good if he was in P2 after that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, coming on to the final lap, start the final lap of the race is Y Racer in his Renault, and he's gained like 3 seconds in the last few laps.
I've just noticed that Dan's car's ripped half of his front wing off.
Okay, that'll be why then. He's got a decent gap back to Chiapelli though, like 15 plus seconds, so he should hold on to P2.
You'd like to think so, at least with that sort of margin, as you said. We're coming now into the key stage of the race, and it's all been about marvellous. He didn't have to change his front wing. He kept it out the wall after the first stint, and it's just been a controlled, precise race ever since. And he's put on a great show for the Monegasque fans as well, and everyone watching with us tonight. And as said, he had a very good and strong week with us in his first week last week in TGP2, and he's just skimmed the wall, and I don't want to be starting this too early just in case he does crash, but hopefully he won't. But he's just got 2 corners to go now, and it is a baptism under the lights for Y Racer as he rounds the final corner and he comes along to the straight. He's already weaving, and as he crosses the line, he wins in Monaco. It's a fantastic result for him. Dan's car is going to finish in second and gain 8 crucial points in the championship. I think he's made a mistake on the last lap as well, because he lost even more time. Chiapelli is going to come along third. Very, very strong race from our reigning champion. Smokey J's will cross the line fourth. It was a valiant effort, but just not quite enough in the end. Our championship leader, he's seeing the fireworks for someone else, and he's hoping that they're going to have enough fireworks, hopefully for him, by the end of the last race, as he maintains his championship lead, if it is a little bit lost and less than it was when we arrived in the Principality. Chris Johnson, his Sauber teammate, is going to cross the line in P6. Result for Chris, and Jack Craig is going to come along the line in 7th. Angel versus Steph is a lap down, as is Red Bull Kim. And where is Michael Kenny? He's just around the final corner now. But Owen, what do we think to that race then? That was entertaining, wasn't it? It was definitely a typical TGB2 dash in Monaco.
Yeah, surprisingly entertaining. Monaco's not really known for its entertainment in real life, but it's certainly lived up to the hype in TGB2, being one of the jewels in the crown. Having exciting racing, very tense racing all the way down the field, even if we didn't have the most outright overtaking.
No, they all kept themselves particularly well behaved. This man in particular takes his first win, and what a place to do it. Round the streets of Monaco, the Renault driver takes the crown tonight, and he's joined on the podium by Dan's car and Chiapelli. What great scenes to see them all enjoy themselves on the podium there tonight. Cyril Beatball looking very happy with that as well, as they're just finishing off the celebrations. And we're going to cut to the, eventually, we're going to cut to the finishing screens. There we go. Y Racer takes the win from grid 4 as well. Very impressive from him. Dan's car finishes in P2. Mr. Chiapelli in 3rd. Smokey J's finished in 4th after a bit of an adventure at times for the Danish driver. home in 5th, Chris Johnson P6, Jack Craig in P7, Michael Kenny 8th, Rebel Kim 9, and that was the last of the finishers. Then we had Dom Smith rounding out top 10, Speed Senna getting 2 points, finishing in 11th, and Mr. John, our last point scorer.
So the gap at the top of the Sorry, I was going to say the gap at the top of the championship.
No, you go for it, sir.
The gap at the top of the championship is now down to 56 points. It was 68, I believe, going into tonight. So quite a big swing so far.
Yep, very much so. So as we now move towards Mexico, and we look forward to what Mexico City has to offer for us. Throwing up some, again, interesting moments in TGP 1 and 2's history. So hopefully we'll get another classic tonight. We've already had one very good race, and let's hope we get another, Owen.
Yeah, we're definitely hoping so indeed. It's going to be, drivers have to be very careful at Mexico with the track limits being strictly investigated tonight by the TGP1 officials.
Yes. No, it is a key point round here, particularly in that middle sector. We've got those fantastic S curves, but you do gain a quite a sizable advantage by being a little bit greedy with some of those curbs. So hopefully everyone will be well behaved, but you never can tell. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and let's see what the drivers can come out of. Hopefully another very good race, but we wait and see. Right, we're going to cut to a quick break, and our commentary will be back shortly.
Right, okay, I nipped to the loo and suddenly no one's here. Right, okay, well, it's just me. Hello. We're looking forward to the Mexican Grand Prix now. Just waiting to get my stat sheet up for you guys. And I can enlighten you with some information about this circuit. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, I believe, was constructed in somewhere in Mexico at a time. I'll give you the proper date and time in a second now, as we wait for my stat sheet to load up and my internet to stop being slower than a potato. There we go, my stat sheet has arrived. Well, no, slowest stat sheet in the world. As we keep going, we're just about to go live for the qualifying here in Mexico, as the circuit was originally built for the 1962 Mexican Grand Prix. So, very old circuit, this one. But it had a long time off the calendar, came back in 2015, and now we're here today after a Tilke redesign to go through the stadium section and to make the S's section a bit faster flowing, shall we say, is the best way of describing it, around this 2.6 mile circuit here in Mexico City. So the drivers are just finishing off their cup of teas, ready to go for 18 minutes of qualifying. So here we are indeed. So just wait for the first few guys to come out of the pit lane. Quite overcast conditions to start off the session here in Mexico. We have 18 minutes from the start of the session, which for some reason my timing screen started counting down and then put back up again for no reason. So who is going to be the first car onto the circuit here for 18 minutes, around number 15 of the season here in Mexico? Nysen will be looking up for redemption, try not lose too many more points this season after Danskar makes quite a big chunk. 8 points doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of a season could be the difference between you winning and losing a title. Danskar now 56 points back from Knighton. Coming into the light, he was 64, and I believe Smokey J's will be the first car out onto the circuit as they now start filing out to race. unlike TGP1 in TGP2, setups are allowed, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of wings the guys run. You want good low downforce for the long straights, but you need to have some downforce to actually get around the high speed corners in the middle sector. We have Smokey J's just on an outlap, we have a few guys on an outlap, we have Senna on an outlap, Red Bull Kim on an outlap, Angel versus Def on an outlap, and Mr. Chiapelli on an outlap. So it'll be interesting to see what Smokey J's does. We're going to go for a hot lap with him any second now, as we just see him warming his tyres up, warming his car up, ready to go for a quick lap around this 2.6 mile circuit here in Mexico City. The real life lap record is a 1 minute 18.7 set by Valtteri Bottas in his Mercedes last season, 2018. As we get ready to go for this, I believe, 17 turn circuit. So we're going to go ride on board now with the man that is Smokey J's in his Renault, and let's see how he does in this qualifying session. So coming around the final corner, long sweeping turn 17, and you need to get a good run out of here down the main straight along this very long main straight. I think it's nearly a kilometre long, this main straight. DRS wide open on the Renault now. So under the Pirelli banner, you've got to wait, you've got to look and spot your braking point. It's about the 100 metre board. Break it down to about third gear, chuck it in for turn 1, and then you've got to keep the momentum up through 2 and 3. Important to get a good exit out of turn number 3, because there's another DRS zone and a fairly lengthy straight. Down the main straight we go. Brake just about the 100 metre board once again, down to third gear, and you chuck it in for turn 4 and 5, the chicane, and now where it starts getting quite twisty on this circuit. Round 6 we go, double apex corner. You need to get a decent exit out of here, because it carries all your momentum down to turn 12. So through 7 you go, a little bit wide through 8, and this isn't the best run through this section of corners. Through 9 that was, into 10, really wide in 10, and wide through 10 and 11. Now coming down towards turn number 12 now. Got to spot your braking point once again, down to 4th gear. Fling it in, and now you're into the stadium section of this circuit. Flick it into 13. Keep the grip up through 13, through 14, round to 16 now. And now you've got to try and keep the power on. Very difficult to actually get the power on right as you're still turning and putting the power on, and that's a 15.3 to open up this session from Smokey J's. We've got a couple of other guys out on the circuit. Let's see what speed Senna's up to. He's just inside the stadium section now, coming around turn number 16. What's he going to do in the Force India / racing point? What should we call it? We're not sure. 15.6 from Chiapelli, a 14.4 from Senna to set the benchmark quite early in this session. Let's see what Knighton do. Knighton is in the pits. What about Danskar? Is he on a hot lap? I think he is. Yes, he is. He's on the back straight, heading down towards turn 4 now. DRS is wide open. One of the Hasses will get out of the way for him as he brakes in towards turn number 4 now. Through the chicane, that is 4 and 5. Quite a difficult chicane, and you need to get a decent-ish exit, because it carries you to 6, and someone can sneak up the inside in race conditions into 6. Now, good exit out of 6, because it carries all your momentum basically down towards turn 12, like I said, on Smokey J's lap. Let's see what the run is for Danskar. Around this section, that is 10, 11, and through 10, 11, heading towards turn 12 and entering the stadium section in his Ferrari. Senna set the fastest lap of the session so far with a 14.4. What can Danskar do in his Ferrari, second in the championship, and compete with that lap time? Knighton is back in the pits, so we won't be seeing a lap time from him any time soon. Danskar coming around turn 17. What's his lap time going to be? I think it was invalidated, or he was just warming up. Didn't come up as an outlap on our thing, but no lap recorded there for Danskar, which is kind of anticlimactic. We're hoping that our main commentator Mike Noon is back any second now.
It was great commentary on a lap that didn't count, I have to admit.
Thank you. I didn't realise you were back yet, Mike, but there you are.
No. I was just having a comfort break.
Fair enough.
But so Speed Senna, as you said, very much setting the early benchmark, and a very good benchmark. Nonetheless, he had a shocking time out in Monaco. Don't know if it's a track that he's not particularly well suited to, but only picking up 2 points and crashing out early in qualifying. But to go 9/10 of a second faster than anyone else already is a pretty good statement from the Racing Point driver. And he's joined at the moment on the front row by Smokey J's, but as you said, we're still still got the likes of Danskar. Don't know what happened on his lap. Maybe it did get invalidated. And Knighton, currently on an out lap, still to set representative times to see how they compare with Senna's lap. We just had someone jump up the standings as Danskar does go P2, but still 0.8 of a second off of Senna's time. So serious gauntlet thrown down by the Racing Point driver so far, and could that already be enough for pole? Who knows? Oh, we don't.
We know nothing, Mike. No.
We don't. Have you had the weather forecast for the race as well?
No, I haven't. I haven't heard anything from any of our complimentary. That's not the right word. But we haven't heard anything from our weather centres that we normally get sourced to. So I haven't got any information for you, Mike.
No, I will let you off. As you said, it's quite an overcast day at the moment, but maybe we'll have a little bit of better weather for the race. So obviously the highest altitude circuit on the Formula One calendar in the capital of Mexico, Mexico City, and we have this stunning stadium section which Danskar just coming into now, the former baseball stadium, which has been developed now into this fantastic arena for Formula One. And we have a great shot of the car. Maybe not the best corners on the calendar, but nonetheless a great chance for the fans to really get up close to the cars during and after the race as well. Makes for quite a spectacle, seeing the cars pulling up and having the podium there as well. So we've currently got Smokey J's on a lap. Is he going to be able to improve on a 15.3 and nix it with Danskar and Senna? His teammate is just a tenth and a half adrift of him at the moment. I'm sure we all know Y-Racer, very competent driver, can find a mere tenth and a half round this circuit at some point. Smokey J's then entering into this stadium section. Let's see if this lap has been good enough to jump him up the order. This tricky braking zone, you have to turn in so late for that corner, and you just feel like every single time you turn into it, you feel like you've turned in too late, and he's actually quite late turning into the penultimate corner. But across the line, Smokey J's does move up into second place on a 15.1. Still 7/10 of drift of Senna. Now, I don't know where Senna has found this time from, but I tell you what, that is a stonking lap.
Yeah, very good lap indeed from Senna. Also, good news, Mike. The Dacia... No, it's not the Dacia Sandero. The weather from our Red Bull data centre and weather centre in Milton Keynes has informed us that the race will be dry.
Very good, very good. Well, we got away with having a wet night race at Monaco, of course, so that I understand does make conditions there particularly atrocious. So we've got away with that one. And we've got a way of having a wet race here as well. The races around here are normally good. We don't normally need the rain to spice it up somewhat. So let's watch the drivers going at full chat around the best circuit that Mexico has to offer. Well, we've got plenty of drivers you can see on the left hand side of your screen there. Sorry to Aaron. On outlaps. So let's see who's starting the run.
Red Bull Kim's just starting on flying lap. What I was trying to say is Senna's already given up on this session. He's binned it on the exit of the middle sector S's, and he's I think he's happy with his time or made a severe mistake.
You know what, looking at his time, I can't say I particularly blame him. I don't think it's going to be beaten in a hurry, let's put it that way.
No, definitely not indeed. Red Bull Kim just coming around turn 6 now in the Haas. He's the only driver really on a lap at the moment. I think Knighton's just about to start a lap as well. So let's see what he is. He's actually not that far up the road from Red Bull Kim. So Red Bull Kim might be finishing the lap, although he's run wide coming out 11. I think the lap's done for him.
Yeah, I've just taken note of Y-Racer. He's just started a lap. Interested to see if he can improve on P4. Chip Elliott, I believe, is also on a lap. Chip Elliott obviously only a 10th behind Y-Racer at the moment. Y-Racer, our winner last time out in Monaco. Fantastic race from the... he's Dutch, isn't he?
Yes, he is Dutch, Y-Racer.
Yeah, the Dutchman. So he'll be hoping to continue the fine form that he began in Monaco just earlier this evening and take it with him into Mexico. So he gets a good run through the stadium section. We said so hard to get that right, and he might get a nice little toe at the beginning of straight. Obviously the line approaches you very quickly here, and Y Racer goes. Oh, I tell you what. Well, sorry, Senna, you've been pipped. I didn't expect that.
No, that means the pair of them are a long way up the field. We're just watching Knighton coming through the stadium section, has his teammate in front of him, so hoping for a little bit of a toe from front of him, but in the S's he's actually probably been getting a fair bit of dirty air from him.
Yep, here we go then, Knighton to the line, and he goes P3, dips into the 14s as well, and suddenly these three are in a little bit of a class of three at the moment. Oh no, Danskar has just gone P2 on a 14.4. I think that's a mistake from Speed Senna, as he's cost himself dearly.
Yeah, he's seen a big margin at the top of the field and he thought, oh, I'm happy with that. Or it was just a genuine mistake, because I've seen a Racing Point sitting on the exit of the S's following Red Bull Kim a little while ago. So maybe he just did make a genuine mistake on the exit of the S's, binned it in the wall, and he's lost the chance of having pole position here. Luckily, round Mexico, it's one of the circuits, there's a long run down to turn 1, so he has the chance to gain that position back.
Yep, and for him, he'd like to think so. But so who can challenge the Speed Boys then? Who are we thinking? Chiapelli's in the pits at the moment. He didn't improve in his last run. Smokey J's, we know, has got a bit of pace there, so can he mix it with them? He's actually on a lap at the moment. Let's watch the Renault driver as he files his way through the beginning of sector number 2. This tricky double right-hander, which he's actually done very smartly, in fact. Coming now towards this fast left-hander, which is so easy to understeer wide. He's quite controlled, actually, but he's understeered horribly through the middle part of it, and having to use a lot of curve on the left-hand side then, going toward... Okay. Smokey J's has hit the wall, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't realise. Who now then? Chiapelli, no pressure, but our hopes of getting close to... I thought that was Chiapelli that just retired then. I'll tell you what, I would have cried. So, Chiapelli in the pits. We've got elite shots out there at the moment. I don't know if he's on out. Oh, I tell you what, he's just got bloody close to some car there. Unsure. Matt Shep is gone wide at turn 1. Michael Kenny hasn't gone wide at turn 1. Let's watch Michael Kenny. I don't know if he's on a lap or if he's on an in-lap, but
Michael Kenny has just finished the lap.
Not saying out lap.
He's just finished the
lap, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Dom Smith's in the pits. So we've got a little lull now. We've just under 4 minutes left of this session to go. I mean, we shouldn't complain, really. We've got less than a tenth and a half that separate the top 4. So this fight for pole, it's going to be fantastic. I know one man who isn't going to get pole at the moment, and that's Speed Senna. But Y Racer, Danskar and Knighton are all going to fancy it, as now Knighton has left the pits to start his final run in qualifying.
So yeah, I think Matt Shep is the only guy actually on a lap physically at the moment. So he's just
went
entering
horribly wide in turn 1, so I hope for his sake he's boxing.
Yeah, well, he's the only one looking. He still had his DRS and he is boxing. So not really a lot going on at the moment. Everyone's just sort of on outlaps.
Yep. So let's watch the first of our last runners. So where is he? Where's Knighton?
Knighton. Yeah.
There he is. Got him. Found him. So he's just coming towards the S's section now, and he'll be making sure his settings are right, his mind is in the right place, and he's going to hope to set a lap. Doesn't even need to go that much faster. Maybe just getting on the power not even half a second earlier. Just, a blink of an eye earlier would do it for him. Really slow through the stadium section, trying to keep his tyres in a good operating window. Chucks it into the penultimate corner now, and we're about to see a Sauber at full chat down the start-finish straight. this 1.2 kilometre straight as he heads down to turn number 1. DRS wide open. We've got a yellow flag further ahead of him. Hopefully that won't compromise his lap. Thankfully it's gone in as he heads towards turn number 1 then. Big braking zone in between 100 and 150 metres. Gets it nicely turned in for the right-hander. Files his way through the next few corners. And Knighton then doing all he can to try and put at bay any chance that Y-Racer can have a pole. He's run a little bit wide in that section of corners as he gets into sector 2. He's got a gaggle of cars around him as well.
He's backed off.
And has he given up on the lap?
Yeah, he's backed off. He's backed off.
Right. Well, not good.
Yeah, and Dansgaard's just ran wide in the next couple of corners in the S's, so I think he might have to abandon this lap as well.
Not ideal then for the, what are they called? Sauber.
Yeah, everyone's sort of backing off, ready to go for a final run. Knighton had to back off, Dansgaard's just had to back off. And Dansgaard and Y-Racer very much holding each other up on this. They're both on outlaps. Dansgaard's pulled into the pitch, luckily for Y-Racer's sake, as he's just starting to fly in lap now for you, Mike.
Here we go then. Herring down to turn number 1, and this is where the drivers earn their money. Heavy on the brakes, and they've got to try and make sure they can get it nailed. And as he has done through those first few corners, gets on the power then for the second straight. And again, another heavy braking zone. Gets it turned in better this time. This is a lot cleaner from the Sauber driver, and it's not clean at all because he's found himself facing the wrong way, and his chance for pole has ended.
Fair enough. I've been watching Y-Racer just a little bit further back on the circuit. He's into T6 now. Been a fairly tidy lap so far from the Renault driver, Mike.
Yep, let's see if he can increase his advantage. I'll tell you what, he's going to be pole because he doesn't need to put another lap in. Elite Shots, in fairness to him, has jumped up to 5th. Chiapelli now is the only man who really has a chance of getting in amongst the speed boys.
Yep, just entering the stadium section for you now, Mike, on the hyper soft tyres. Just got a couple of corners to go. Round 13 officially on the track map. Through 14, little kink there, that's 15. Into 16, and then half the pedal hard is called 17. As he comes around that, what's his lap time going to be? Is it an improvement? Yes, it is. It's a 14.7. He hasn't got in and amongst it with the speed boys, but he's close enough, and he can make some positions possibly on the start with the long run down to turn 1.
Yeah, I think Chiapelli can be happy with that, all things considered. Because it really didn't look like anyone was going to get close to the speed boys, as we said. So
Elite Shots is still on lap. So we're not done yet.
I think he just set one, so I think this would be an inlet, unless he's trying to do 2 on this set of tyres, which would be frankly idiotic around Mexico. But he's going to go for it. And is he going to improve on a 14.8?
No.
No.
That is your session.
That's gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. What have we learned from that? The speed guys are speedy. And they've locked out the front 2 rows. And we're about to run you through the qualifying order when it loads. There we go. So, Y-Racer, he's just had his first win, and I think that's his first pole. Is it?
Yes, I think so.
Yes, we'll go with a yes. Dansgaard joins him on the front row. Ferrari doing well. Senna thought he had it in the bag, but not in 3rd. Knighton in 4th. Chiapelli 5th. Elite Shots in P6. Matt Shepard in 7th. Smokey J's 8th. Chris Johnson in 9th. Michael Kenny in 10th. Rebel Kim 11th. Dom Smith in 12th. And Mr. John in 13th. Unlucky for some. But is it going to be lucky for him in the race? Well, this is a track where it really doesn't matter where you start, because if you get a good one, you'll be on the back of someone into turn 1, I can guarantee it.
Yes, and you'll be these guys will be trying not to repeat what TGP1 lot did back on I can't remember what season it was, but it was on F1 2016. I think you know what I'm on about, Mike.
I can. Vividly.
Yes. I was left in a wall with no legs, basically, is the best way of describing it.
It was an interesting thing to be a part of, as I was. And it scarred me, Owen.
How do you think I felt?
Turn 1 at Mexico was never the same again.
Yeah, I basically
we didn't even get to turn. We barely got past this bloody pit lane exit.
No, we didn't. I basically took off. I was basically off to Guadalajara.
You were, actually. Right, well, we focus on TGP2, and hopefully they won't have a repeat, as we have 5 lights in Mexico. And we're underway. James Boffin's picked up a drive-through penalty for a jump start. I don't know if a Sauber got one as well, because it was very quick off the line, but it's a good start. We've got 3 wide going down into turn 1. No. One of them's disappeared, but we're going into turn 1 now, and it's Y-Racer that's held onto it. Senna's trying to go around the outside. There's a late dive from Smokey J's up the inside of a Sauber. Knighton's had an awful start, and it's down to 6th already. Chiapelli's holding his own around the outside and got himself up to 4th, but it's a disaster for our championship leader, who's lost 2 places off the line, Owen. And Chiapelli's now challenging Danskar into turn number 4 and gets moved on to Smokey J's fancies a bit of it as well, squeezing him into the corner, and the Renault driver runs wide but has got into 4th. So a disaster for our 1 and 2 in the championship, and we got carnage further back. Smokey J's has got some damage, as has Knighton, I think, and MC Shep.
Well, it all started because Danskar basically locked his brakes going into turn number 4, and we've got Chiapelli all over the back of Senna further up the field. But quickly about that, as Chiapelli actually goes past, so forget about that, Mike. We'll come back to it.
Yeah, Chiapelli having the first. Oh, he spun!
Disaster!
He's going backwards in the track. Oh gosh. Oh, it was going so well for him. He was on fine form tonight, as Y-Racer sets the fastest lap race. Now has a 4-second gap out front. He's only just won his first race, and he's Verlin's race for 2nd, as we got Red Bull Kim out of the race as well at the penultimate corner. It's all kicking off in Mexico on lap 1, Owen.
Yeah, it all is indeed, as Smokey J's is losing the position to Danskar. But we're going to try and recap what happened on that first lap at some point. Bit of wheel banging between Danskar and Smokey J's just about holds on.
Dom Smith is up to 5th.
Dom Smith in 5th? When have we heard that in a TGP2 race before? It's been a while since we've heard that, but it's great to see.
It's been a few seasons. For sure, Dom Smith keeping himself out of trouble, found himself in P5, and could be challenging for a podium soon enough. Where did he start?
I can have a quick look for you now. Position change.
He's up 7 positions.
He's starting P12 for you, Mike.
So he's on fresh rubber as well.
Yeah, so this has been great for Dom Smith. Cracking start to the race for him. Been a few incidents up and down the field. We've now got a little bit of time to try and recap what went on there, as we've seen Mr. John actually all over the back of Knighton, so no, we can't. Still.
No, we can't. Oh, and Dom Smith from wide coming into the stadium section as well. And Mr. John up the inside of our championship leader. Knighton trying to fight back around the outside of the stadium section, but I tell you what, sir, you will not find a way past Mr. John round the outside of the stadium section. Senna sets the fastest lap of the race and's got the gap down by 2 tenths as Knighton dives into the pits. So disaster for our championship leader on the first couple of laps, as DRS is now enabled. It's going to be interesting to see where Knighton comes out in relation to Chiapelli as well. So that could be quite interesting. Danskar is right on the back of Smokey J's, and he's going to have a very, very, very good chance into turn number 4. In the slipstream on DRS, Smokey J's defending for all he's worth, and actually Danskar had to get out of the DRS as Smokey J squeezes him coming into turn number 4. Danskar trying to keep his nose clean. He knows he's gaining quite a few points on his main championship rival at the moment, and he's going to have to keep an eye on Dom Smith behind him, who's on that fresher rubber. Yeah,
just speaking about the fresher rubber, we have most guys starting on Hypersofts. We have Mr. John actually started on Ultrasofts, and then a couple of guys on Supersofts, including Knighton, who's already made a pit stop. I think Chiapelli's already made a pit stop, and so's James Boffin.
Yes, we've had from 9th downwards, everyone has made a pit stop. We've got a ghosting. Something's happened to Senna. Oh, okay. Race leader. Oh, he wasn't a race leader. Oh, 2nd place driver even. Something's happened to him. He's not there. And Smokey J's now moved up to make it a Renault 1-2. But Danskar kind of fancies getting some Ferrari meat in the middle of that sandwich, because it needs a little bit of something, because we've only got the bread so far. Danskar round the outside into turn 1. He's going to try and do the whippity-wop flop spot, don't shop at Top Shop, and into turn number 3. They're still side by side. Senna has actually come back, so he clearly just disconnected. But surely now into turn 4, Danscar's well positioned to try and move on the Renault driver, who's clearly struggling at this stage of the race, Owen.
Yeah, definitely struggling indeed. He actually had a bit of a sideways moment coming around turn 1 towards turn 2 there, while Danscar was having that little bit of a battle with him. I think it's now finally a good time to recap what happened on that opening lap. Basically, Danscar and Smokey J's had a bit of contact going into 6. That sent Smokey J's sideways, and that caused a bit of a logjam. And with Chiapelli and I believe, I can't remember who it was already, but I think it was one of the Renaults. I'm not 100% sure on that. But there was a little bit of contact. I think there was a little bit of contact, and basically what happened was it just sent Chiapelli round, and that was that. He's gone all the way down the field. I think he may have lost. Well, he's made a bit of a wise strategy call. Start being on the ultra softs at the moment, Mike.
Yeah. Well, Danscar, here he goes again. You got to think with this DRS and this long straight, I'm surprised he isn't flying past the Renault, who actually is trying to defend the inside so much he's on the grass. And Danscar again trying to position his car for a good exit, but at the moment Smokey J's is doing enough. And I tell you what, I was about to say I don't really know how he's doing it. He very nearly wasn't doing anything and was ending up going into a wall, but this has put him offline and meant that Danscar does now have the inside line for turn number 4. He can defend the inside for 5. And it's very unlikely that Smokey J's can chuck one up the inside of 6, but he's going to think about it. He thinks better of it, and the Estonian moves up to P2.
Yeah, the Estonian up into P2, second in the championship, and as it stands at the moment, gaining a huge chunk of points on Knighton.
Yep, but look at that, nearly 9 seconds off of Y-Racer, who is just cruising out front at the moment.
Yeah, good performance from Y-Racer. He showed promise last week, but just couldn't quite deliver when it came to the money moment. But it has been delivering so far tonight, winning Monaco, and he's got a nearly 9-second lead already in Mexico.
Yep, and Matt Shep has just picked up a penalty, and Smokey J's is in the pits, and that pushes Dom Smith into 3rd.
Yes, Dom Smith on the podium. My never.
Who would have thought it?
Yeah.
Who would have thought it? Well, our man with the most TGP2 wins hasn't had very good luck of it in the last few seasons, but now finds himself in P3 and could be on for a very good result in his Red Bull.
Yeah, meanwhile Knighton's trying to make his way back up the field now. He's all over the back of Elite Shots. It's Williams versus Sauber, and they're in the slipstream of Shep, so they'll be both trying to look past him as well. Elite Shots is going to lunge it round the outside at T1. Little bit of wheel banging, and Knighton's going to try and take advantage of all this.
Yep, and I tell you what, if he didn't get a little bit squirrely coming out of T3, he might have been a lot closer to these two. Heading up to turn number 4, Elite Shots are going to try and dive down the outside. That will put him on the inside for turn number 5, and it's worked perfectly because he has got up the inside of Shep, and Knighton's going to try and get both of them. He's at least try and get Jack Craig, and he has done, and it looked like Jack Craig was about to... Oh, I tell you what, he's just slid right in front of Elite Shots, and he was going to try round the outside, and has retaken P number 9, has he? Yes, Knighton slightly offline, and has cost him.
Yeah.
And now Chiapelli's right on the back of these guys.
Yeah, this battle is kind of brewing behind these guys. I think all these guys have already made their stop in this race. Yes, all these guys have actually already made a stop in this race, so this is for position. First guy on the road that's made his stop is Smokey J's. That's a little bit up the road, but we've got this nice little battle brewing for P8 at the moment between about 4 or 5 cars.
Yep. The top 4, the only ones to not pit so far, but the main action is coming in the battle for 8th, as we've got some more cars in the pits. This promotes these chaps up a few more positions. Speed Knighton then trying to go attacking on Jack Craig, and he's got the run on Shep as well. He's going to try and get the inside of both of them. Very nearly has his front wing taken off. Oh, and there's contact between the Williams and the Sauber, and the Williams has gone flying, and this is going to give Chiapelli a chance around the outside, is it? He has to go off the road. Shep's going to have to defend from Knighton and Chiapelli this time. Is he going to go to the inside line? He thinks better of it, and that surely is going to be Knighton's P6, although he has run a little bit wide. Chiapelli's going to try and set himself up now to get past the Ferrari driver too. And but at the moment, Knighton doing what he had to there, and just about keeping out of trouble, Owen.
Yeah, just about. It looked very scary with Elite Shots having that spin.
He got wide though, and Shep's up the inside, and And Knighton has to go. Oh, and there's contact, and Shep's run really wide. Is he still in the race? Yes, he is. He's alongside Chiapelli.
Chiapelli!
Oh, God! Careful, guys.
Kicking off in this battle for
P6.
P6.
It's kicking off. We've got Dan's car and Dom Smith in the pits, and Smokey J's has actually is actually ahead of these two. So Dom Smith has jumped Dan's car.
Yeah, that's fair play, Dom Smith. Did he pit a lap early, or was it the same lap?
No, same lap.
Fair play. So yeah, we've got Shep all over the back of Knighton still. Chiapelli lurking in the background. This is our closest battle on the circuit at the moment. This great battle that is for P6. But yeah, it's all kicking off. Ross Kemp is so scared he's already got the hell out of here.
Yeah, he's gone back to Afghanistan and he can't deal with Mexico City anymore while the TGP2 race is happening. Smokey J's picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Shep using all of the track and some of it he shouldn't have been to try and keep in touch with Knighton, who isn't having a very good time of it at the moment. He's not extending his gap from these two, as Shep, getting a little bit out of shape, has got Chiapelli all over his backside now, and this is giving Knighton a little bit of a buffer. Can he try and break that DRS buffer of 1 second? At the moment we're at 7/10. Shep still getting creative with the track design, has run wide there, and this could cost him. This has now put him outside of DRS, and he's in the wall.
Dear.
And he's taken Chiapelli with him. And the reverse, and God, he's hit Jack Craig.
Oh no, it's all gone Pete Song, lads. It's all gone Pete Song. Oh dear.
And Chiapelli, you've got to slam your brakes on when you're going backwards. That's a golden rule. And he didn't, and he's cost himself and Jack Craig massively there. And the two of them find themselves at the bottom of the field, along with MC Shep, after an incident coming out of the stadium section. And it all started from Matt Shep running a little bit wide, and that put him offline. And unfortunately, Chiapelli initially was the passenger, and then poor old Jack Craig, minding his own business, thinking, great, I'm going to get two positions here, found himself without a front wing and facing a Tech Pro barrier.
Yeah, I think, well, it all started from when Chiapelli gave the back of Shep on my screen a little bit of a nudge. That sort of unsettled Shep's car, sent him round, sent him into the barrier actually, sent him back into the path of Chiapelli. Chiapelli spins round, didn't slam his brakes on as his car was rolling back, hits the back of Elite Shots, and Elite Shots ends up in the barrier as well through no fault of his own.
No, unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, the battle for P4 on the road, P3, a net position, is hotting up as Dom Smith is being passed by Dan's car. The Ferrari driver moves back ahead of Dom, who's having a fantastic race, as we said. And but Dan's car, with that speed advantage, makes his way into. I tell you what, someone who's going to be very grateful for his performance in recent laps is Knighton, because he was right in the middle of all that, and if that had kicked off with him there, then we could have been seeing our championship leader out of the race even, Owen.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Knighton indeed. He probably was looking at the timing screen just before that happened and thinking, I'm not too far off the back of Dan's car, not in terms of time, but in terms of position. He was only one place behind him at that moment in time, so not much points lost for him. But Danscar's just got in front of Dom Smith, so that means the gap is 4 points. Danscar's gained 4 points on Knighton, I believe.
As Mr. John now pits, so that will promote both Danscar and Knighton. So Danscar moving up into the podium spots as the Renault driver's currently running 1-2. But we have to remember Smokey J's has a 3-second penalty at the moment. He won't be losing the position. So Renault looking good at the moment, Owen.
Yeah, Renault looking good indeed at the moment. Danscar having a great performance. He's back up into P3. We've got Dom Smith P4. Great performance from him from the back of the field.
Yeah, Dom Smith flying the flag for Red Bull very nicely here in Mexico, a track where they have gone very well at, obviously, in past. We know it suits their car very nicely in a lot of senses, and Dom Smith doing very well in that bit of machinery at the moment. His teammates struggling a little bit down in 9th place. Actually, James Botham shouldn't be in there, boys. He's normally a McLaren, but obviously, clearly, forgot to change his car before the race. So, we haven't really got many battles to talk to you about. It's been all carnage so far in the opening 11 laps, but everything's settling down a little bit. James Botham, we just speaking about him, just picked up a penalty. As we start lap number 12, we have 7 laps remaining. As Chris Johnson and Mr. John are our closest people on track at the moment, but that gap has just ticked back over to 2 seconds.
Yeah, so we're going to have a quick look, see what Chris Johnson's doing. They're not. I think Chris Johnson's actually losing time to Mr. John. Mr. John made a much later pit stop than him, so that's why.
Yes, just pitted. You're right.
Yeah, so that's why Mr. John's pulling away. He may be actually hoping to maybe claw onto the back of Knighton, but the time is dropping away from him actually.
Oh, something's happened to Smokey J's. The Renault driver is off the track and has lost P2.
Yeah, so that's bad news for Knighton as Dansgaard gains another position, and it's the same point swing as it was in the last race at the moment. Dansgaard gaining 8 points on Knighton.
Yeah, so that could be interesting to see how that develops during the latter stages of the race. Still, as we said, 6.5 laps left to run. We haven't really said much about Y Racer because we haven't needed to, because he has just been doing what he needs to do out front and not really worrying about anything that's going on behind him. So good performance again from the Dutchman.
Yeah, James Botham picking up another 3-second time penalty. It'll be interesting to see, keep track who has time penalties so far in this race. It will of course play a big factor in the race results depending on how many you have.
Yeah, obviously 3 seconds can be very costly in an 18 lap race with tyres obviously all at relatively similar ages. So that could, as you said, yeah, on who's got penalties and who hasn't. Obviously, I know Smokey J's has. I think he's the only one in the top 3 that has. Nyson, I don't think he has. Neither is Mr. John. From memory, it's only James Botham, Matt Shep, and Jack Craig, I think, that has them. I could be very wrong, obviously, but my little memory is remembering that.
Yeah, meanwhile we have the Mercedes of Mr. Chiapelli after that incident with MC Shep going for a move on James Botham. He's on the ultra softs. This should be a slam dunk move as James Botham, oh, that looked very close from James Botham, just about gets the move done as Y Racer picks up a penalty.
Yep, I don't think he really has to worry. 10.5 seconds out in front, but as you said, it only takes a couple of those and the race win could be in jeopardy. But yeah, good move there from Chiapelli after his earlier muppetries. Dom Smith now gets a penalty, and that will put him behind Knighton.
No, it's not. He's having a good run, Dom Smith. I think he's being a bit distracted by the football tonight, to be honest, though. He is a Liverpool fan, and I have no idea what the score is.
But I don't either, actually. I haven't been keeping an eye.
Yeah, since there's a bit of a lull in the race, I'm going to have a quick look, Mike. So you keep the audience entertained.
I'll keep an eye out. We've got Knighton closing into Dom Smith, so maybe he won't need that penalty as James Botham picks up another penalty, speaking of which.
Meanwhile, water is wet.
Now just 0.3 of a second off Dom Smith, and this could be slam dunk home run for Knighton. He's going to try and go around the outside of Dom into turn number 4. Dom can only fight it so long, but it puts Knighton on the inside line. Dom Smith using all of the track he can, but he loses P4 on track. And Mr. John now only 3.5 seconds back, so on that fresh rubber, could he close in to within 3 seconds to find himself picking up a place after Dom's penalty has been applied?
That is a very good question indeed, Mr. John. On the fresher rubber, I'm going to see how much fresher actually. Just have a quick look for you now, Mike. Mr. John's been on those Hypersofts 3 laps compared to Dom's 6-lap old Ultra Softs.
Well.
And meanwhile, we're banging on about the football. I've just had a quick look, and it's currently 1-0 Barcelona with a goal from Luis Suarez.
Is it? Well, that's quite funny.
It is.
So, maybe how recently did they score?
It was the 26th minute, and they're just about to clock over to half time. So it's about 20 minutes ago.
So Dom Smith is now, unfortunately, in the clutches of Mr. John after the penalty is applied. So it's going from bad to worse for the Manxman who supports Liverpool.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Probably the next battle that we've got brewing on the circuit is actually Mr. John maybe catching Dom Smith on raw pace.
Yeah, well, there we go. With 4 laps to go, could we see a change for 5th on the road? And Dom's got to take into account Chris Johnson. Not too far back either. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3.
It's disappeared again.
Off.
Must have not have been too major as it's disappeared again quite quickly. As we see, Mr. John had a poor run through those S's there. I'm riding on board with him now. Had quite a poor run actually through that S's section. That hasn't helped his chances with getting to Dom Smith. But he's just glaned it all back just by having one good corner.
There we go. So Mr. John doing his best he can to catch and pass Dom Smith.
Now just over a second is the gap for you, Mike, as we head down the main straight. He's not going to have a go this time. Maybe this time, next time, this time, next time, this time, next lap.
That's good.
Yeah, meanwhile, MC Chef has been disqualified for multiple penalties. What I was trying to say is this time, next lap, Mr. John probably having to be a sniff at Dom Smith.
Yep, and we've got something else just flashed up there, which I clocked but forgot. Oh, Jack Craig picked up a penalty too. But yes, Mr. John then just half a second behind the Red Bull of Dom Smith, and this could be very interesting indeed to see what's going to happen between these two. He's got to keep close through the S's, got to try and make sure that that dirty air coming off Dom Smith's Red Bull doesn't unsettle the Mercedes. He's keeping the gap under a second at the moment. So Mr. John then having a good... Oh, he's just picked up a penalty. So
I think they're even on penalties now, though, these two.
They are even now. So it's going to be down to the road. And Mr. John then on the ultra soft tyres.
Hyper
Those are
softs.
the pink ones, aren't they?
Hyper
soft tyres.
Dom's on the ultra softs.
Right. That's... Oh, I knew it was. Please bloody tyre.
Don't worry, you don't have to worry about that for F1 2019,
No, I don't
Mike.
have to worry about it anymore. Thank God. So then, Mr. John, what can you do for us then, sir? He's certainly going to be thinking about it. Round the outside into turn 1. Is he going to try? Late on the brakes. And he's going to hold his own, which is going to put him on the inside into turn number 2. Dom Smith still there, though. Watch out, John. As he does get the move done round the outside. A very, very good move from the Mercedes driver to go up into P5.
Meanwhile, James Boffin has just been disqualified from the session. We have a lot of drivers just suddenly picking up penalties. We've got Dansgaard picking up a penalty. Speed Senna's afternoon's just getting from bad to worse, as he's just picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty. So this is just...
Oh, he's got another one there.
He's having a shocker of an afternoon, Senna. So right, we better go on to the leaders. It's the final lap. He's just kicking onto it now.
Is it?
It is. It's just kicking onto the final lap for you, Mike.
Well, just like in Monaco, he's kept himself to himself, and unlike Monaco, no one's really come near. He got a good... Smokey Joseph picked up another penalty. That's his second, so it's going to put him behind Knighton at the moment, Owen.
Yeah, there's no point trying to do a rundown until we actually get the final results screen, because with these penalties flickering up left, right and centre, we're going to try and be saying the final results, and it's just going to be, oh, someone's moving up, someone's moving down, we just chaos.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, Y-Racer has just done exactly what he needed to do, and he's kept it in the white lines. He did pick up a penalty, so not clearly completely in the white lines, but he's done what was asked of him, and he's about to pick up his second victory of the night. So he took his debut win last time out, and he hasn't waited long to pick up his second. The confetti's flying in the stadium. He's taking it easy. I can't say I blame him. Coming out to the final corner now, and in Mexico he takes the win. Y-Racer, this is brave, but he wins in Mexico City. And he didn't wait around to take his second victory. As we said, Speed Penner picked up another penalty. Dan's car crosses the line, and on track it was only 6.9 seconds that separated them. Smokey Jace has had an awful final lap, and it's put Knighton right on the back of him. But it doesn't matter. Oh, Knighton must have got a penalty, because I don't care. It's not going to make sense.
Mr. John's 5th for the time being.
Yeah, I think. Dom Smith dropped to 7th.
Yeah, Dom Smith, he actually got passed by Chris Johnson on track on that final lap.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it weren't due to chime in. That was literally an overtake on the circuit. Angel versus Death, I think, it's run out of fuel and he's going to cross the line in 8th. Got Mr. Chiapelli. He might sneak home in 8th. Let's see what the time says. No. Oh, nearly.
Oh, he's just hit the back of his car, actually, and had a horrible accident on the main straight.
Horrible accident on the main straight. I think we're used to them.
Yeah. Well, there we go. There we have it. It may have been pretty game, set, and match out the front during the whole race. But if this game was a tennis match, then we were having a lot of juices and advantages at very, very differing stages. And Smokey Jace did keep hold of his podium. So good effort there from the Dane. But it's Y Racer who took control and takes his second win in TGP2. The champagne flows in Renault, and it flows as well for Danskar, who again takes 6 points this time out of Knighton to take his total, taking out of the championship lead tally to 14 points tonight. So a very good afternoon.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My maths is eluding me.
Nice bit of maths there.
Yeah.
So very good, accomplished afternoon from Danskar indeed. So let's give you the final rundown. Now we know everyone's penalties. Everyone pretty much got 6 seconds, by the way. Y Racer finished in P1, his second win. Danskar P2. Smokey Jace finishing off the podium P3. Knighton finishing 4th. Mr. John in 5th. Chris Johnson 6th. Dom Smith, good result from him in 7th. Michael Kenny in 8th. Mr. Chiapelli 9th. Jack Craig 10th. Speed Senna Eden in 11th. And James Botham picking up the final point. Well, Owen, it was a very interesting night of racing we've had tonight. And what a statement from Danskar. Putting Y Racer's amazing performances aside, Danskar, did what he had to do to pick up the points which he needed going forward. So we definitely cannot take anything away from him. He kept his nose out of trouble. He put in moves when he needed to. He made some good calls when was required. But all in all, I think he can be quite pleased with tonight's running.
Yes, he should be very pleased with tonight's running, putting an indent on Knighton's championship lead, and hopefully he can make a crusade towards the end of the season. I believe we have, trying to think, 6 races left after tonight, so there's still plenty of time for Danskar.
Round 15?
Yeah, there's 15 tonight. So yeah, 6 races left. We've got Japan, France, Russia, Belgium, Canada, and Abu Dhabi left this season. His gap's down to about under 50 points, so he still has a decent-ish chance at clawing that back.
Yep. Well, you'll have to find out next week, I'm afraid, ladies and gents. Once again, it has been a pleasure you joining us tonight. And we look forward to seeing you next week. He's been Owen Quenby, I've been Mike Noon. This has been a TGP series production, and for all of us here, we wish you a very pleasant evening, and we look forward to seeing you next week on PS4.